Hey, back again making videos. Today, the subject I was doing with my students was on social stereotypes, gender roles, national clichés, this sort of thing. And I tried to test the students. I would say to them, describe a European. What do you got? Man, woman. They'd choose a gender. I'd say, what skin colour does she have? What religion is she? What is she wearing? What is her job? And usually get some fairly racist, or sexual remarks. But when I got around to gender roles, first of all I had to teach them what gender was. I told them what a gender is, male, female, and sort of the ideas associated with it as far as sort of gender roles go. And in the classes where there's girls, and I have to say in the classes where there's girls because there's 1,700 boys here and only about 90 to 100 girls. That's in the whole school. It's technical high school. That is why. In a class where there's 2, 3, for one example was there were 4 girls in the class. And I said to them, okay, gender roles, guys, when I say to you, who cleans the house, what is your first answer? And you just see all the boys do this they'd all look at the girls and not make a sound. Not make a sound. And the girls who were sitting like this the whole lesson, suddenly oh yeah, go on, I dare you. I dare you. I dare you to answer that question. The boys are still zip-lipped. They wouldn't say it. They just wouldn't say it. In another class where it was just exclusively guys, I asked that question, so who cleans the house? Someone, you and your partner get pregnant, who stays home and raises the child? They've all answered, yeah, woman. The woman does it. Now I wasn't doing that to be sexist, I was just doing it to, point out, give an example of this is just something that we take for granted. It's just a gender role that we're raised with, it's there in the media, and although it's being broken down, these gender assumptions, they're slowly going away, it's slowly changing. But I just wanted them to see that it is there, it's right, it's at the front of your mind, it's your first instinct, it's shaped by this sort of thing, by your association with your genitals. One student came forward after the lesson. This was a lesson where the girls were, and he said, could you please talk about taboo, taboos as another subject? And I thought that was really cool. This is the first time a student's come forward and suggested something. Normally I'm there racking my brain thinking, shit, what am I going to teach them? Something interesting. I've got to find something interesting. Something that'll hold their attention for, more than the first 3 seconds in which they're like, oh no, he's not going to speak French today. Click, lights off. So yeah, taboo. And that made me think, what is cultural taboos? Do I talk about things that are taboo in Australia or things that are taboo in France? Maybe I should compare the two. Things that the French do that are taboo in Australia and vice versa. Taboo, that's a lot of consonants. Things that are taboo, it's a lot of consonants. I got confused trying to speak English the other day. Not because I've been speaking French or anything like that, but just because I'm stupid. I tried to say 32 and 2 teenagers, moving right along. Taboo. Now what is taboo in Australia? I think what shocked me when I first was walking around the corridors of this high school, maybe I didn't notice it when I was 16 and on exchange here, but now walking around as part of the team, as staff member, I see students everywhere in corners, just in the middle of the corridor, pushing each other up against the wall, making out. They've got their tongues buried down each other's throats, like they're trying to clean the leftovers of dessert off each other's tonsils. Right there in class, and teachers are going by. All their fellow students are going past, and they don't bat an eyelid. They don't stop for it. They don't break stroke. They just keep going. And it irked me. It still irks me. I've still not gotten used to it. Public displays of affection. You don't really do that in Australia. Even holding hands, people look at you like, oh, you're one of those people. You don't hold hands. Public displays of affection, it's just I want to say crass. Because it's kind of like, oh, well, good for you guys. You don't need to rub your happiness in our faces. We all know you're going to break up in 2-3 months. That's the lifespan of your young relationship. If it was lasting, you would have ring tan on your finger already. Now, in Australia, and I think maybe to press my point, I remember in Australia making out with a girl in the corridor, and I got into a heap of shit for it. Teacher walked past, I was there making out with a girl, I got into trouble. She got into trouble. Here, just teachers don't bat an eyelid. If I wanted to really like make out, like push a girl against the wall and stuff, you'd have to go out the back of the school and hide. You know, we would have to go to the bathrooms to fool around in school. Another thing is, the corridors in this school are quite narrow, and I'm not going to begrudge the French this, but, you know, stopping, the faire le bisou, kisses on the cheeks, handshaking, stuff like that. They will stop and hold up traffic while they give the bisou at everyone they pass. And so it takes 5 minutes just to go 10 metres down the hallway, because everyone's stopping and kissing, and it's endlessly frustrating for me. I like to be punctual. I don't stop to wipe my face on other people. I just want to get from A to B, get my job done. Get there quickly, get there on time. But that's not what I'm attacking. What I'm attacking here is like this. That also would be taboo in Australia. If I tried to go around and kiss every acquaintance on the cheek, shake everyone's hand at the start of like work, at the start of class or anything, it would just be seen as time wasting. It would be seen as obnoxious, very obnoxious. Like we don't have time for that. It's a load of rubbish. The only people who you see doing that are the ones who are into really shady self-employment, so they have time to sit around all day at a cafe at Brighton, shaking one another's hands, kissing each other on the cheek, because we know they're going to be up all night trying to sell drugs or traffic weapons. The only people in Australia I would kiss on the cheek when just at the start of an evening when I'm about to see them are chicks, or maybe 2 of my male friends, and only 2 of them, because one of them's a homosexual and the other one is just very flamboyant. You know, he's straight fella, but then the second you get a cigarette in his hand, it becomes really heavy. His wrist is something like too weak to hold a cigarette. And as far as like shaking hands go, God no, that takes too long. And a lot of my friends will scratch their nuts, like overtly scratch their nuts, open hand. That's no good. That's no good. I don't want to touch them. I don't want to touch their hands. It's just unhygienic. It's no wonder the Black Plague killed most of Europe when everyone's kissing and shaking hands. It's unhygienic. Another taboo. I forget now. I'll come back with it later. Hope you've enjoyed the video. I am going to go outside now and try to think about more taboos, things that are different, things that you could not do, you just can't do, bad habits that you would pick up here and then take back to Australia, or vice versa. Oh yeah, I remember it now. Spitting, okay? Cultural taboo, spitting here in France, spitting seems to be almost cool. Like, all the kids I see everywhere spit all over the place. So there's big dirty puddles on the ground of just mucus. Even indoors, in the school, in the corridor there is spit. Just like when you walk down any street here in France, there's mountains of dog poo because the SDF, or keep bears as pets and feed them laxatives. Just like there's poo everywhere, there's spit. All over the footpath, all over the corridors, even in the classroom sometimes. I don't know why, what this style is for just, the sort of the head bop and the poo to the side. Again, back home, the only people who spit are heavy smokers. And they have to spit because their mouth probably tastes like a nutsack after cigarettes all day. So I can understand them needing to spit. They got to get that taste of filth out. I'm not attacking smokers. I think smoking's a really cool trend. It's just not for me. I take one puff, I'm like, well, I feel like I just licked someone's butt crack. I'm going to walk away now. And that's the note I'll leave it on. I will find more taboos to discuss next time. Have a nice evening.